Good afternoon. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating, is it not?
Yep. Yes.
What brings you here? You have a general idea of what this is all about?
Sure.
You've come to give it or get it. Cannot separate the two, can you? For as you are radiating, you are receiving. We are anticipating an extraordinary gathering. We have been anticipating it as you have been making your decisions one by one to join this group of co-creating. Let us begin. You are the orchestrators of this gathering. You are knowing that. What have you been pondering? Have you been paying attention to your day-by-day life experience? Is it getting clearer? Is it getting faster? Indeed it is. Never has there been a more important time for fine-tuning, agreed? Let us begin. Let us hear from you.
This is more of a request than a question. I would like you to weave in today some more of what you've discussed over and over again, and that is the problem of what you call throwing our net out too far. And I guess I've just become more aware of that at a deeper level, that what I do is try to look out too far. I want something and I want the end result. I ignore the journey, and instead of taking it in small increments, I keep wanting to leap there, and then that puts me back into feeling the lack. And you've discussed it in many ways already, probably enough if I just pay attention to those. You talked about somebody wanting to get across the river, and instead of feeling bad because they're not already on the other side, just go and look at the next little stepping stone in front of them. And then you've got the analogy of the rope, pulling the cord into the bigger rope and all that. And I don't know why, but this week that suddenly struck me as one of the problems I have in creating is I've got my sights out too far, and I've got it on a destination instead of the journey. So you don't have to answer it even now, but if you weave that in today, I would appreciate it.
It is our absolute promise to you that you will receive clearly. We're wanting to tiptoe into it just a little bit right here, because what you have brought forth is perhaps where many, if not all of you, are standing. In other words, you have heard us hammering away for months about being the attractor of your experience. And yet, because of your physical orientation, you are so accustomed to relying on your action. And you are such doers. And so it is normal that when you awaken, you get your thoughts way out there into the day, and you begin anticipating what your day will be as you begin moving through it. And some of you throw your net out into the day. Some of you throw your net out into the entire world. Some of you throw your net out into my life experience, and you bring it all back into your bed so that you are overwhelmed before your feet are even on the floor. And what we are wanting you to acknowledge is that as the attractor of your experience, how much more logical it is to find something, it doesn't matter what it is, something that pleases you to focus upon, and just hold that thought long enough that by the powerful law of attraction, your own vibration will begin to raise. We believe that what you are wanting to understand will come forth as you see yourself as one who vibrates. Why do you vibrate? Because you think. As you vibrate, you attract. That is really all there is to our message. As you vibrate, you attract. And you vibrate by virtue of your thoughts. When you think of what you are wanting, whether it is some little thing or some big thing, you are vibrating, you are harmonizing with who you really are, and you are in the flow or the allowing of what you are wanting to come to you. We will chew upon it in many different ways as we are moving forward here today. Good.
My ultimate goal is to feel good about me, and no matter where I am, no matter what I'm thinking, or no matter who I'm talking to. And today, Aunt Bea and I were talking, and she was saying a lot of nice things about me. And it was something that I couldn't even listen to. I started feeling very nervous, very anxious, and I finally just interrupted her and said, "Can we please change the subject?" I was very uncomfortable. Now, you've mentioned two phrases that I really like, and I've tried to understand them, and I haven't really been able to break them down. So based on all that, the two phrases are, one, you say relax into the state of well-being. And then another one that I recently heard you say was, the most magnificent of experiences is whenever you get your thoughts harmonizing with your greater thought and knowing, and then act from that harmony. So if you could help me understand those two, and then help me also understand if I'm wanting to love myself, and then I have to be able to, I don't really know, I have to understand love in order to receive it.
Let's talk about it. For everything that you are asking, and it hinges upon what was asked just before, let us bring this all together. It will be a very good foundation for us to move forward from. You acknowledge that your inner being exists. That's an easy one for most of you. You are acknowledging that your inner being exists. And when we say to you, your inner being is not new, your inner being is very old. You have lived thousands of life experiences, and your inner being sits now as the culmination of all that you have lived, very decided, very sure, and very happy, in a place that by your standards you would say is pure ecstasy. And so here is your inner being vibrating by virtue of that which it has become, you see. Here you are, a physical being, a physical counterpart of this inner being. And the harmony that you seek is the literal pulsing, the pulsing that is in harmony with who you really are. That's harmony. That's also what well-being feels like. That's also what love feels like. That's what security feels like. That's what all of the good stuff, all of the positive emotions, that's what that feels like, is when your thought in this moment is vibrating with who you really are. Now, most of you do not allow yourselves. Let us begin at another place. By virtue of your physicalness, you vibrate lower and slower. It's just part of being physical. And as you are thinking your physical thoughts, you are not absolutely in harmony with your non-physical. But as you acknowledge that your non-physical exists, and as you say more often in every day, many times a day, nothing is more important than that I feel good, you enhance or highlight the passageway between the physical you and the inner you. You make your inner being more pointedly aware of you, and you make yourself more keenly aware of your inner being. Then, as you think thoughts, those thoughts are more pointedly either resonating or not resonating with the greater you see. We are wanting to really emphasize here today that all of this is about vibration, because everything that you live, everything that you create, everything that is, everything that you know is about vibration. It is all pulsing energy. And harmony is the vibration that feels good, and disharmony is the vibration that feels bad. Your role, your work, is to harmonize with you, which means think thoughts that make you feel good. Speak words that make you feel good. Now, what happens to many of you? Because you have emerged into a world that does not understand about inner being, does not understand about pulsating thoughts, and so you have been encouraged to not pay attention to what you feel, but to try to hammer your ideas of right and wrong into that which society has already decided. And you speak to one another more often, not from your heart of harmony, but from what society deems most appropriate to say, until most of you, who are now really getting in touch with who you really are, feel the hollowness of words. And we do not mean because the words are not meant by those that are coming forth, but we mean the emptiness of them in the sense that those words from outside of you will never satisfy the great wanting that is within you, which is the wanting for your own harmony. There are not enough words in the world to get you to feeling good about you that would compensate for the feeling of void that you feel if you are not in harmony with who you really are. And yet, as a physical people, you run around telling each other what you think you want to hear about any number of subjects. As we move forward, there will be more for you. What we are wanting you to hear as we are beginning, all of you, we're wanting you to get in sync with this idea of vibration, because that is what your guidance system is about. Every subject is really two subjects. Are you beginning to see that? There is a subject of money or lack of it. There is a subject of health or lack of it. Every subject is really two subjects. And so as you are focusing upon what you are wanting, and you are feeling good as a result of your choice of thought, then you are in harmony with who you really are. Your inner being vibrates powerfully and pointedly. And when and if you harmonize with that vibration, it is like a rocket going off. Things really begin to happen quickly within your experience. When you have focused upon a thought, and by law of attraction it has attracted another thought, exponentially, more and 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 more are coming to you very rapidly. This is all happening very rapidly, within seconds. Your vibration raises to the point where you can have connection with who you really are. And that's when you feel uplifted. That's when you feel inspired. That's when you feel elated. That's when those goosebumps comes. That's what has happened to you. And all of you have had that experience, but most of you do not allow yourself to have that experience very often. It usually happens under some other orchestration. We'll tell you what we mean by that in a moment. Most of you think about what you want and the lack of it, 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 and you keep yourself on a very mundane, very physical plane of vibrating. It's no wonder that you count on action to make everything happen. Because when you're vibrating like that, sabotaging your every thought with a counter thought, with all of your objectivity, with all of the statistical data that you have attracted, you don't allow yourself to dream or believe. Instead, you are so objective, weighing the pros and cons, the yays and nays of everything, and so you hold yourself, most of you, at a place that is not in harmony with who you really are. Think about it. When you go to a stage production or an opera, it doesn't matter what the event is, even a sporting event, and it holds your attention for a period of time, is that not when you find your spirits beginning to soar? In other words, it doesn't matter what the object of your attention is if you can focus upon it a little while, not thinking of the lack of this and the lack of that and the lack of that and the lack of that, but holding your thought upon something, even if it's not even something that is important to you. As you focus upon it for a period of time, do not you find your vibration raising? And so what our wanting is for you to hear today, for we believe it is the point of your question, is that your work is to more of the time deliberately think thoughts that will lead to thoughts, that will lead to thoughts, that will lead to thoughts, that will lead to that fuller connectedness with who you really are, you see. You are very particular about what you eat. We watch you. You're particular about what you wear and what you drive and where you live, but you are sloppy and not particular about what you think. You let any old thought cross your mind. You read horror stories. You listen to negative commentary. You read things that make you feel sick. And then you wonder why your spirits are not soaring and why you're not resonating with who you really are, you see. You really believe, we don't know why, because there is nothing in the universe that is teaching you that it works that way. But you really believe that you do not have to be particular about what you think, that you can think any old thing. And what we are wanting you to do is think more pointedly about what you are wanting and pay more attention to how you are feeling as you are thinking. We're watching Esther. She made a decision that she was going to consciously, purposefully, in a short period of time, raise her own.